Hi folks, just a quick video about a really difficult task, choosing lenses for a mirrorless camera. As you know from my previous video, I actually thought about switching over to Fuji, which I do think is a great system. I actually love the cameras, I love the feel of the cameras, and for me to be able to have a camera with a substantial feel to it, like a traditional old Nikon FM with dials on it that I can control manually, for me that's heaven. Fuji do make a few nice lenses for their cameras. They make a couple of standard zooms, both a 2.84 and a fixed 2.8, which both have their advantages, but both lenses optically are very good. They do make 2 or 3 fast primes, although they are more the 1.4, 500-600 pound upwards category, which is quite a lot for what I would need, because the wide angle lenses really, some of the primes would be more for walkabout lenses, but there are some Samyang lenses that I really like too. My favorite at the moment for mirrorless is the 12mm f2, which is absolutely wonderful. The problem is it just seems to be swings and roundabouts. There seems to be limited choice no matter what you do. Sigma does make some wonderful lenses, but the choice for mirrorless, especially for the Fuji is negligible. They make a few for E-mount, and they have introduced a 7 prime lenses, their Art series lenses, for E-mount, which is a good start, but overall I'm finding it quite frustrating. Having come from Nikon, where I have a choice of so many lenses, it's quite frustrating because the first thing I look at is the system, not just the camera, because I need to be able to have the type of lenses that I would like at the type of cost that I feel justifies what they are for. It is very, very difficult, and I'm finding it very frustrating. I wish that some of the Sigma lenses that are available now were available in a mirrorless mount, but unfortunately they're not. So on the Fuji side, there are standard zooms and 2 or 3 primes that seem to be more the high-end primes, but it still seems to be fairly limited, especially when you go above the 50mm. They make a 56mm, is it 56 1.2, which is quite expensive, but they don't make a sort of a 50 1.4 and 1.8 like Nikon do, that are really well priced and are a good, cheap, high quality walkabout lens. So in that way I'm struggling really, because it's like I can pick bits from both systems, lenses from one, lenses from the other, although on the Sony side I must admit most of their lenses, the cost of them I think is just absolutely ridiculous. Many of them cost far more than other professional lenses. They make the Nikon professional lenses look cheap by comparison, which is saying something. So it's really frustrating. Having said that, I do have Sony a6000 and a7 II. I like them, but I find the usability more when I tried it of the X-T2 to be ideal for me. So really I'm now looking at what is best for me in everyday use. The problem is with the Fuji side is that the mount and the lenses, they are all designed around the crop frame sensor of the Fuji, whereas on the Sony side, although there are lenses for the crop sensor of the a6000, 6300 and 6500, the E-mount is common to both the crop and full frame, meaning that I can actually buy some full frame lenses that I can use both on the A7 and on the a6000, which is a bonus, because For me, the full frame sensor, it's not really about low light anymore. It's more for portraiture, and it's not even about subject separation, because if I use a fast prime, I can get really what I want most of the time. It is more about the compression, because I prefer, for photographing people, I do like the look of an 85 or 105 on a full frame sensor. Now, although you can use those lenses on a crop frame sensor, when you're on the 85, that's an effective field of view of a 135, give or take, and a 105 is like nearly 160 field of view, which means that you're just too far away from your subject for it to be practical. So for me, the full frame sensor is about the lenses that I would want to use with it for portraiture. When I'm out and about, when I'm traveling, I'm quite happy with my A6000 and my Samyang 12mm f2, because the image quality for what I want is fantastic. It's very rare that I would need anything more than that, very rare. So it wouldn't justify the size and weight for me. But for portraiture, purely on that basis, that is why I do like the full frame sensor. So I'm sort of stuck between one and the other, because I do like the ergonomics of the XT1 and 2, but for the reasons I've given, the Sony appeals to me a little more. So much as I'd love to switch over to the Fuji, the lack of independent lenses as well does play a significant part. So I think I might be having to stick with my Sony for the moment. I'm still hanging on to all my Nikon gear, because to be honest, nothing can beat the feel and the ergonomics of a Nikon DSLR, starting from the prosumer 7000, 71, 72, going up to the pro bodies. So that, with the availability of all those Nikon lenses, I think I won't be ditching Nikon quite yet until I actually manage to have an alternative collection of lenses that will replace everything rather than just a compromise. Wonder what your thoughts on that. Bye.